Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat coming to you on this Monday, and no better way to start it out than with the great voice of the Hoosiers, Don Fischer. Sir, how are you?
I'm doing good, Jim. How about yourself?
Great, and I know it's always a good week when we get to talk to you, and it's off of 2 wins. There's nothing negative, so it's a great way to start the day.
Well, yeah, I can bring up some negatives if you'd like.
I'm sure we can find them. We don't have to go far, I'm sure, but we're going to stay close to the top. Indiana back-to-back Big Ten wins yesterday, of course, over Minnesota, and then prior to that, Ohio State. Ohio State ranked 13th, but Minnesota had also they may be the shocker of the Big Ten this year. They lose their coach. Their entire team transferred out, it seemed like, so you didn't expect anything from them, yet they came in like wildfire and were playing very well. Ohio State also was playing well. Indiana takes care of both those teams. It's like they finally have kind of woken up and they're getting their offensive flow together.
Well, there's little question that Minnesota they're going to be a troublesome team for a lot of ball clubs. Ben Johnson has done a terrific job of molding a bunch of mid-major transfers along with Eric Curry into a ball club that will test you. And they certainly did Indiana yesterday. It was interesting because they tried to do something that nobody has really done this year, and that was to take Trace Jackson Davis completely out of the game. And they couldn't do that completely, but they did a heck of a job in holding him down, trying to make sure that he wasn't the guy that beat them. And they said, we're going to let you shoot threes if you think you can make them. And obviously, Indiana has struggled in that area for a long time. And what happens? Rob Finney shows up and knocks down 4 out of 9 from the three-point line, looked confident in doing so. And I think that confidence has grown over the last 3 or 4 games anyway. But he didn't score a lot against Ohio State. But here's the thing. Mike Woodson has talked about building the confidence of these guys, getting them to understand that he's not going to tell them not to shoot when they've got an open look. And what happened yesterday, they found a bunch of guys that did that. Xavier Johnson knocks down shots. Parker Stewart got back on track with his three-point shooting. Miller Kopp knocks down a big one in the second half. You had a bunch of guys that took threes, made them, and obviously helped Indiana win this basketball game, along with the defense that we've seen them really improve in as the year has progressed. And I think their best defensive performance of the year was against Ohio State last Thursday. So we're seeing a team that it's obviously still got a long way to go, but it is growing and it's getting better. And now they're going to take it on the road. We'll find out how this week goes, but it's you get a smile on your face when you watch this Indiana basketball team play right now.
Yeah, and I don't think that people really realize how incredible the defense that they are playing unless that they're actually looking at these statistics, because they're playing at a level right now that they're at the top. They're at the top of the Big Ten. They're one of the tops in the country. And even if you think back to the days of Bob Knight, who all preached defense, that's pretty lofty for anybody where they're sitting right now. And they're holding teams to under 60 points. And like Mike said yesterday, you do that, you're going to put yourself in a position to win a lot of games.
There's no question. And their defense has been spectacular of late. And it's actually been good all season long. That's where Mike came into this thing and he said, that's going to be my number one priority. We're going to play defense. We're going to play tough defense. We're going to keep people uncomfortable with what we do from a defensive standpoint. And they've been doing that, and it's just gotten better and better as this year has progressed. And a big part of that is getting guys that come off the bench. You can always have your starters pretty locked in defensively, but then you got guys that come off the bench and continue to put forth that kind of energy that it takes. And getting Trey Galloway back this past week was huge in that vein. I think he gave them such a shot in the arm on Thursday night when his first game back after sitting out 7 weeks with that broken wrist. So impressive was his energy level and how hard he played and how smart he played in that ball game. And that's, to me, Trey Galloway is one of those guys. He's a coach's kid. He's very smart. He knows the game. He understands his role. He's very coachable. He tries to do the things he can do. He doesn't try to do too many things he can't do. which is always a big problem for some guys, and we've seen it on this team at times. But Galloway gave them an energy level that was just spectacular on Thursday night against Ohio State. I think he continued that yesterday. I don't think he was quite as sharp as he was in the first ball game, but hey, it takes a while to knock that rust off and to get feeling good about yourself again, especially from a comfort level standpoint with your teammates. So from my standpoint right now, defense is such a critical factor for this ball club, and they've got to recognize that in every game they play this year. If they do that, they're going to give themselves a chance to win every game.
Yeah, absolutely, Don. And one of the things that stood out to me was the way this team is becoming less, not that they were selfish, but Trace Jackson Davis, this is a guy who's scoring up 27, 30 points in some games. But late yesterday, he knew to pass the ball out. He is not too selfish to pass. And once he started doing that, things started coming back to him. And just once they learn, they are going to be Indiana is going to be a very difficult team for everybody in the conference to play.
Well, here's the good news from yesterday, in my opinion. You had 5 players in double figures, first time that's happened this year. The defense continued to play as strong as it has in most every ball game that they've played. You get Trey Galloway back. He becomes an energy factor and another key off the bench, which, this team – the bench has got to, even though they're still playing all these guys for the most part, 9-10 guys a ball game. That bench is getting a little bit shorter now because Woody's obviously playing guys that buy into defense first and continue to play, smart out there when they're on the floor, doing the things that they're capable of doing and not going overboard with trying to do things they can't. So there are so many things that are positive with this team. But take a look at what happened yesterday, which was, to me, the critical factor. In the first half, we knew that they were taking Trace Jackson Davis, trying to eliminate him completely. Indiana's guards scored 31 of the 39 first half points they scored. It was all guards that scored the basketball in the first half.
Well, and no turnovers. They had like 2 turnovers.
Yeah, and 6 for the ball game. So this team, and that's the other thing that's happened here in the last 7 or 8 ball games. They've stopped turning the ball over 14, 15, 16 times, even 20 or 21 or whatever it was back in the day. But yeah, that has stopped, and that's dramatic too. So there's so many positive things going on with this team right now. And of course, we're saying this literally just basically over a week when they played their worst game of the season against Penn State. So, how quickly things can change with a couple of wins.
Yeah, and now they head on the road, a place where they have not had the success yet that they are seeking. They go to Iowa, a tough place to play, but it's a winnable game for this Indiana team.
Well, I think here's the thing about the Iowa Hawkeyes. You know that they're going to want to run up and down the floor and try to score a ton of points. And they are scoring points at a high rate, 87 a ball game coming into this matchup with Indiana. In Big Ten play, it's dropped off to 78 points a game. Here's the biggest problem the Hawkeyes have, and this may come into play big time if Indiana plays the way it's capable of playing and controls the boards like they have in most ball games this year. Iowa is averaging 28 rebounds a game and giving up 44 a game. Wow. That's in Big Ten play. Now, I'm not talking about on the season. I'm talking about just in Big Ten games. So against their best competition that they face day in and day out, they're getting clobbered on the boards. If Indiana can take advantage of that, they've got their first road game of the season in the win column.
You think they're not missing a certain somebody?
You mean Luka Garza?
Is that his name?
Luka's not a problem. I mean, he's gone now, and that's not a big factor. Well, I'm telling you, it's the biggest factor for them because that guy was a stud.